World, you already know what time it is. Your boy Mac is the host with the most. Don't need to brag, no boast. All I do is get close to the real folk who done paved the way in the real way for us players to play. You already know how we get down. Of course, the time, you know what I'm saying? And I have a great show for y'all tonight because I'm getting into the deeper side of things. You know what I'm saying? It's life, you know. How do you feel about your mind, body, and soul? You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't stop to think and into consideration. You know what I'm saying? Should be moving way too fast, man. You know what I'm saying? Especially with this whole COVID shit. But let me introduce y'all to my brother. You know what I'm saying? My brother. And the boy Raise the Dawn, you already know.
Yeah, aka Young Shades. You know?
Yeah, young shit, you know what I'm saying?
Son,
Respect for reaching on the show, you already know I'm a dime.
enough respect, enough respect. You already know. It's a blessing, you know. Been a
Yeah,
minute we were supposed to connect properly and we finally did. So, you know, that's the direction we're going, you know? Real.
yeah, up for, you know what I'm saying? I mean, we look at like we seasoned vets to this shit. How long I've been knowing you, man? For a good 15 plus years, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
So
right.
shit is
Yeah,
deep now.
it's been a minute, it's been a journey, you know, many twists and turns and ups and downs and all that. You
A
know,
lot.
but we here, we healthy, right? It's time to, you know,
Turns and ups and downs and all
give
that.
a little energy, you know what I mean? Spread a little energy in the right directions, you know what I'm saying? You got a lot of people that, you know, they need to tune in, they need to tap in to themselves, you know, on the topic of
My bad. Go ahead.
yeah, um, on the topic of mind, body, and soul, you know. If
Yeah, yeah.
anything, a lot of people are closing themselves, you know, mind wise, body wise, soul wise. And you got a lot
I
of
think.
people that are awakening. You know, you got a lot of people that are waking up. You know, I don't like to necessarily use the word woke, right? This is how people are gaining consciousness. You know what I mean? They're tapping into their higher self. You know, there's
Oh,
low
damn.
vibrations and there's high vibrations. And when you function at a high vibration, that means, you know, realization. That means healing. That means a lot of powerful energy being, you know, brought in your direction. So to all the brothers and sisters, you know, out there, you know what I'm saying, that are on that journey, you know, I feel you because definitely to be able to function properly in this day and age, you need to be mentally, physically, and spiritually balanced. And if you're not, you know,
Mm,
you already know what happens then. We got millions of examples, you know.
yep. Yep.
Facts.
That's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Because I look at it like in this day and age more than ever, I feel like we need mind, body, and soul. You know what I'm saying? To be strong, to be in line with one another. You know what I'm saying? Because we're being attacked on all different fronts. You know, when it comes to like the music, when it comes to like the system, when it comes to like our food that we digest. You know, the way that we think, uh, what we think about. You know, there's a lot of variables that go into it. So when I'm thinking about my mind, I'm like, shit. The mind controls all that other shit. You know what I'm saying? Mind. You know what I'm saying? So
Yo, let me
they say if you don't mind, it don't matter. You know, mind over matter. But
right. Like I'll give you an example.
I think you were speaking to me about something earlier on today. I want you to expound on that a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? If you can, you know, because
Yeah, definitely, definitely. You know what? Like, I don't really do too much public speaking or not. You know, I'm more the type to build with those that come into my connection. You know what I mean? Directly. I don't use
Yeah,
social media to socialize and let you know what I mean. Most people I'm socializing with, I know where they live. You know what I'm saying? I know I could just pull up on them, or they can holler at me and be like, "Yo, what's good?" And if you're not, well then we might have had that connection, but that connection needs to be rebuilt or like reconnected or something of that sort, right? So
true,
you
true.
know, some people
Yeah,
don't know the journey. You know what I'm saying? They just got little glimpses into like how one can come, you know,
yeah,
to like the level of where you're at. And me
exactly.
personally, the
Journey. It's
years
all about
I've been on this planet, I've been through different transformations, you know what I mean? Different psychological levels to my being, you know? As a young individual, I would say there was a lot of anger, a lot of a lot of pain, you know what I
yeah,
mean? A lot of aggressive energy, a lot of impulsive energy.
right? Yeah,
Well, then again, you know, then I didn't realize that, like, you know, like even at 19, 20 years old, a lot of these young brothers nowadays, they actually believe that they're fully grown men. But mind
yeah,
you, that your brain stops to develop at 25, right? So literally up to 25 years old, you are still being conditioned into the person you're going to become, right?
right, right.
So with that said, on my personal, you know, path, I've been through different levels, different time spans of like of knowledge, or to be a time where like I learned a lot of shit. Other times where I was just kind of like making a lot of shit. You know what I mean? Maybe creating something but not learning, right? Just generating whatever I was focused on. Could be money, could have been music, could have been many things, right? And then the question is what is the intention and the result of what you're focusing on? And at some point, you know what I mean? Like growing up in an
But
urban setting,
God said, experience is the best teacher.
facts,
Yeah,
facts.
I believe that too. You know what I'm saying?
But then there's always the like the element of where we
And
all connect. You know what I mean? Like growing up a certain way, a lot of
Mhm.
young black brothers grow up with no fathers around, right? So there's always that masculine element that you're gravitating towards. Could be negative, it could be positive, it could be just, you know, it could
Yeah,
be in between.
you're trying to
So
get you're trying to get that uh, validation, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Because
yeah, but that you see, that's where we're going back to like the mind, right? The mind will 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 either create something for you or create a direction you want to go in, whether you're conscious of it or not, right? If something's lacking in your life, you're gonna seek it. I mean, if you spent most of your life not having, you're gonna look for financial means, right? Rather than negative or positive, right? You know what I'm saying? If there's a masculine, or even let's say like some women, it could be you know, for a woman or a man, not having a father figure, not having a mother around. You know what I'm saying? There's the psychological, there's the mental, there's the physical, and how it affects one person. But touching on what you were saying, there's a book that I read years ago.
Mhm.
All right, it's called the um uh, the seven habits of highly effective people. I
All right.
forget the name of the actual author, but
I think I remember that book, but I forgot about it. Still, I think I read that book in the Bing. Still, like, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
You
the
probably gave me that.
author is actually Stephen Covey. First time I read that book, that shit just like blew my mind. It was like, what? Because it's kind of like if you're lacking some certain types of structure or like effective ways of thinking, you don't know it until you tap into it, right? You won't know that you're kind of like your program is warped because you're missing certain key elements of what you should be focusing on. So in the book, one part that marked me was there's a part called sharpening the saw. So in the
Mhm.
book, they explain that there's a few saws that you should be sharpening on a regular basis. So one being the mental saw, second being the physical saw, and the third being the spiritual saw. So for the
Right,
mind, no common sense, it would be focusing on like reading, learning, relearning
right,
things, unlearning things.
right.
For the physical, they touch on the importance of physical activity, stretching, running, breathing, you know what I mean? Some type of physical activity where you raise the cardiovascular level in your body, where you get sweating, you know, flush your body of them toxins, them lymph nodes, and all that, you know, free radicals and heavy metals and radiation, whatever the fuck else might be in your body, right? And then there's a spiritual aspect where it's like, you know, meditate. If you're a religious person, pray, you know, fasting, reading scriptures. You know what I mean? If anything, you know, take your time to center yourself and realize that there's more to us than just this physical vessel, right?
Yeah, that's it. You know, because we're like a vessel. It's like our bodies don't even belong to us, man. When it comes to the soul and the mind and everything like that, it's just like we're here to live out this part of it and move on to the next thing. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm looking at life as like life never ends, man. You know what I'm saying? A lot of deep
Well,
shit.
you know what? Like, look, I'll give you an example. Like, this is where, like, kind of like we're in the mindful era, right? I don't know if you ever like studied, kind of like read up on
We leave our mark.
the whole science of like mindfulness, right? So mindfulness is like a mix of psychology, spirituality, you know, physical, you know, movement, and anything that is well for the body, right? Many different angles and different degrees of where you are consciously. But what I was really trying to say is that if you're trying to work on yourself, yeah, there's many parts to us, but real talk though, those parts are all interconnected.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Like,
you know?
I'll give an example, like studying like nutrition and, you know, like personal training and like taking care of the body. You learn where your gut bacteria, your gut is a brain. Like the biochemistry of your stomach and the bacterial content in your stomach is linked to your brain. So like if you're eating shitty food on a regular basis, that shitty food is gonna have an effect on how you think and how you deal with stress. And then your brain is directly linked with your nervous system, and your nervous system is linked to every organ in your body, right? That it sends signals. So like, example, just to show you how the body is not one engine. If you swallow poison right now, if you swallowed like started chugging a liter of bleach, it's not you that starts to gag. It's not you gagging. It's not you trying to puke. That is your body. That is your pancreas, your liver, your gut bacteria saying, oh, something's wrong. I can't process this. I can't use this as fuel for this.
Yeah.
Get it out of me. And if you can't get it out, well, your body's going to shut you down. Be like, you know what? I can't deal with this right now. You're going to kill me. So I'm going to put us to sleep so I can get rid of this shit. That's how fucking powerful our bodies are, right? So,
yeah,
you know, on many levels, though, I would say a lot of people that we know of need to stop looking in the sky. You know what I mean? Stop looking for saviors and looking for some like magical explanation for everything. I think people need to be more mindful of like their bodies, their minds, and the spirit and the energy that's created by this whole fucking thing we call the human organism, right? For real. So
exactly.
that's the direction that I think a lot of people are going in. Actually, I know for a fact a lot of people are going in that direction. But there's a lot of people within our community, you know what I mean, that need that. They need to tap into their higher selves, man. They need to get on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, being healthy, being mentally, physically, spiritually healthy, being gangster. You know what I mean? If a young brother's trying to tell me popping Zans and sipping Henny every day and drinking every fucking day and fucking all kind of different chicks, giving your life force to all kind of different unstable female creatures.
Yeah,
And it
let's
could
talk
be,
about
and I don't want to sound sexist. Let me clarify that though.
that.
You got a lot of unsane and troubled masculine energies that when they come into contact with a female can have that same effect. So I'm not gonna act like it goes one way, but then me personally, I know that a man that's balanced, mind, body, and soul, has to be very, very cautious and very careful on what kind of woman he's gonna pick, right? Because a
Exactly.
good woman is gonna gravitate good energy towards you. So you see, mind, body, and soul embodies many different things. Relationships, like if your mind, your body, and soul is balanced, your relationships will be balanced with everybody you come in contact with. If your mind, body, and soul is balanced, well, you're gonna have that balanced relationship with your children, with your friends, or be able to have it. You know what I mean? So that's just how I see it. And those that agree could
The
probably,
yin,
huh?
darkness, and the light. Darkness and the light. The yin and the yang. I believe that to come first full circle in this life, we need all aspects of what's going on with our mind, body, and soul, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right?
I, we need to know the darkness and we need to know the light. We need to know what makes us sick. And we need to know what makes us right. Well, we need to know how we feel inside and how others look at us when we feel that way. You know what I'm saying? And how we look at others when they feel that way, a certain way. So it's, it's like, what do humans do when they get up, right? They want to know, they want to go, they want to see what other humans doing. You know what I'm saying? That's basically 85% of the world. Well, 5% of us out here, we want to wake up and change the world. We want to teach. We want to reach. We want to have a level of understanding where we could best explain what's going on and how certain shit's getting on. You know what I'm saying? Because as you grow older in this life and you see a lot of shit, you're unimpressed by a lot of shit. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you are impressed because you see kids coming up vigorously with the right type of energy, but it's probably channeled in the wrong way. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
It's like that's how I feel like we came up, or a lot of our peers came up. You know what I'm saying? Because of the whole drug situation, everything that's involved in it. You know what I'm saying? The streets, incarceration, you know what I'm saying? Oppression, all this type of shit, right?
Yeah. Well, if anything, all these things you're talking about were the tools that the powers, that be
Use
used to
against.
like destroy the mind, the body, and the soul.
Okay,
Like you take away a man's dignity, you're
right.
taking away his mind and his spirit, right? His body means nothing to him, right?
Right.
You take, you know what I mean? You take away a man's body and his mind, well, all that's left is a soul, right? So it's kind of like equals MC squared, It's like, I don't know if you remember like the mechanism, but like E equals MC squared means um velocity and motion creates energy, right?
Yeah.
So energy and velocity create motion. So if you add up mind, body, and soul, it's kind of the same concept, right? You could break it down in that form, where it's like mind and body. You know what I'm saying? Like mind and body create the soul. So like our consciousness and the vessel allows for the energy to flow, which is our spirit, right? The body and the soul are what's needed, your physical and that energy that's sparking to have the
Yeah.
mind working properly, right? So if you're taking care of your body and your spirit is strong, well, your mind is going to be balanced and intact. You know what I mean? So we could break it down. The mind and the soul is the base of who we are as people, right? So your energy and your thoughts, your perception, your the traumas, the experiences you have, that builds you up as the person you are. So it's really simple, man. All you got to do is break down the three and see where you're lacking. You know what I'm saying? Just like what I just said. Like, yo, you're on the mind. Yo, read, learn. You gotta read 10 million books. I can act like I read 10 trillion books every day now, but like I take time every week at least to read up on something. You know what I mean? I don't spend my time on my feet all the time and just, you know what I mean? You gotta, yo, like learn something or like learn up on something that at least interests
Yeah,
you.
that's another question I want to ask you. How do you keep the mind intact so it could work with everything else? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you, like, you know what I'm saying, keep your mind? Because you know the outside entities always get attacking the mind, right? So how do you keep it like focused to where it's like you could accomplish those other things with the other aspects of your being, you know? You know,
Discipline.
it's every other thing,
Discipline.
you know,
This
discipline.
discipline is key. So that means doing things when I don't want to do them, doing things that I might not like doing, but I gotta get them done. And you know,
Right.
while I'm doing them, I might not like it, but then you know what? That's like working for yourself, right? I was
Mm-hmm.
watching this dude on my feed. I just recently like hooked up a TikTok account, you know, and there's a white boy. He's like, listen, the reason why you should work for yourself or get your own job or start your own company is that when you start working for somebody, it's easy. And after the years, after a certain amount of time, it gets more difficult because now they have more expectations of you. Now they're comfortable with you.
Yeah,
Now they know who your family is. They know your kids. They might know things about you. They're gonna use those things to keep you going. But then you're basically just a slave to the fucking employer or to the the, the company or the system you're working for, right? But when you work for yourself, building a business from scratch, it's gonna
yeah,
be work. You know, like if you understand economics and like business, it's gonna be hard. But then yeah, it's up and running, it's like heaven, man. Like all the hard work pays off, you know. And I'm not saying
yeah.
I'm the most business savvy dude, but I've started a few business models that have done very well, and up until today, I'm still reaping the benefits from those things. So, you know what I mean? To all the people out there, like yo, if you're really trying to get on certain things, yo, build your own blueprint, come up with a plan, you know, do some homework, read up on whatever you're interested in, you know, find out the in and outs business wise of what it is, what's available to you based off of, you know, like the Canadian business model. And
Yeah,
yo, boss up, level up, you know what I mean? Level up.
and some grind, man. That's how I look at it. All you need is like mind people on some grind. And if you don't got the people yet, do it yourself, man. I mean, there's an old proverb that says, "If you build it, once you build it, they shall come." You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Facts.
you know what I'm saying? You gotta bet on yourself. If you ain't, you know what I'm saying? If you ain't gonna bet on
Mhm.
anybody else, you better bet on yourself first, and then you know what I'm saying? Make sure that you want for yourself what you want for everybody else, anybody else, you know, that you working with or you rolling with or you trying to build with, you know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, it's about all about building relationships to me, man, you know what I'm saying? Building strong relationships, you know, as a business, as a person that because I've 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 been running my business for the past 3 years, and I feel the most freedom doing it. You know what I'm saying? And it's like before I was doing that, I was in the streets, I was doing all types of shit. You know what I'm saying? All kind, you know what I'm talking about. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, what the fuck was I looking for? I was looking to find myself, be who I am today, you know, trying to look for a better way, but at the same time going through their channels. But you gotta go through your own channel, which is like you said, building your own business, you know? Because a man gotta be able to do three things in life. You know what I'm saying? Take care of home, build a business, and he should be able to shoot. You know what I'm saying? You got to know how to shoot. And well, ride a horse. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing because that's an old saying, but we would say drive a car in these times, right? So once you have those three things intact, a lot of things come. a lot more easier for yourself. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I feel this life is about. You know, once we learn that and we get to that stage, then sky's the limit, man. Sky's the limit, man. Because look at it. They knew that our foundations was the was the bedrock of why our communities lasted so long. You know what I'm saying? Which which was the family unit. You know what I'm saying? And the family unit wasn't just like for our family alone. The family unit was the community, man. The community always looked out for each other. You know what I'm saying? That was a given in the black community. You know, so they had to put some dirty shit in place just to fucking break that up because they knew our power. You know what I'm saying? And how far we could go with it. So they're right now they're trying to distort the family nucleus and change it and be like, yo, anybody, you know what I mean? Oh, it's not just a male, female, and child thing. Anybody could be, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot of shit that goes into it. No, there's a lot of shit that goes.
But then again, like like a Rasta man, like
Ram,
proverb, Hold on. Let me just touch on that. Like you have a Rastaman proverb is like everything is everything, right? Everything is interlinked. That's what it means. That like you might look at the rock on the floor and look at like a bird. Just to say, I'm just giving an example. And if you really think deeply, you can find some like link between the two or make like kind of sense in some way of what you're talking about. So if you're talking about the family entity itself, the three things that would be needed to destroy it and that's been destroyed it is like the mind, the body, the soul, right? So like if you infect the body with different addictions, alcohol and drugs, and then you infect the mind with like different deep-rooted programs of like self-hate, like ignorance, self-hate, shame, lack of knowledge of self, yo, bro, the soul can't vibrate. It can't vibrate on a higher frequency. So back again to the whole Einstein kind of like where I'm breaking down the whole fucking the whole equation, right? So like mind and body, if the mind and body are not in sync, the soul can't be in sync. So if a person or a group or a system is trying to hold you back mentally and physically, it's hard to shine. And this is where sometimes, you tell people like, yo, if your environment is not allowing for you to grow mentally, physically, or spiritually, switch your environment. And at the end of the day, this goes back even to a deeper conversation of like the whole ghetto complex. You know what I mean? Like people repping certain neighborhoods or this and this where they're from. But like, at the end of the day, if you break it down, none of these neighborhoods belong to us. Like if the government wanted to shut down certain neighborhoods tomorrow, like they're doing in Toronto, like Regent Park and different places, they could do it. You know what I mean? We hold on to things that are not necessarily good for us mentally or physically. And then you got
that hold no weight in the real world, man. I mean,
yeah, but like I'll give an example. Like, growing up, like hip hop was something that was deep. It still is. There's a lot of very conscious and like, very influential artists, but then the music is being pumped with like this self-destructive fucking type of message. Like, that's all that matters,
I'm glad you said that, man, because I'm looking at these young rappers on Tita and I'm like, yo, man, I feel like Toronto is like a wannabe what Montreal was in the 90s, you know what I'm saying? Like all this extracurricular gang banging and shooting and all that shit it's not a Toronto thing. That shit just came about not too long ago. So for that to just come about just like that, because there's old beefs that stem from a while back. Yeah, there's beefs, but it wasn't like prevalent that the way it is now. You know what I'm saying? It's more like they're trying to follow the drill sound or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like what Toronto's doing is following instead of leading. You know what I'm saying? We need more leaders out here, man. I feel like Montreal, yeah, we're a French city and whatnot. We don't get much recognition in terms of hip hop or whatnot. We, I don't think we're jocking the Toronto way of doing things. It would just be my perspective. And I don't think we're looking at the states as a catalyst. Well, we look at each other and we're like, yo, man, I'm trying to get over out here. I'm trying to get it in, but you don't understand. We're such a small city that we need each other. You know what I'm saying? So it's a different dynamic, you know. Like it's still on some G shit, but it's very subtle. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to say about T Dot is like they have a lot of potential. It's just they're channeling in the wrong way, man, and that's because of a deep seated root shit that they want to do to us black folks out here in Canada. You know what I'm saying? Especially as English black folks. You know, because I could assure you in the states, if you're a black person on your shit, you're getting shit done in a major way. You know what I'm saying? But out here,
Hey,
I
yo,
feel
let
like
me.
there's
Yeah,
a barrier. There's some type of barrier. You know what I'm saying?
I
So
got.
go
But
ahead. You go ahead, and then I wanted to show this this video about a rapper by the name of Young Lava out there. You know, because
yeah,
he's a real one. But go ahead. So
you
what you
see,
want?
like I was listening to what you're saying, but like I want to stay on the concept of like the mind, body, and soul. You know what I mean? Like, if anything, what you're seeing from Toronto is just a reflection of like where the mind state is at. You know what I mean? Like back to like what I was telling you. You know what I mean? Like where, what you know, like we're living in an era like yo. You know what I'm saying? Like promethazine and codeine and all these types of things. Like you know, opiates. Like
Yeah,
I think growing up, the worst thing
the
we would be
fentanyl,
doing. Hold
fenty.
on, let me finish. Let me finish though. Growing up, like
Yeah,
one of the like the worst things we would be doing would be like what? Okay, we smoke weed, we drinking, pop a little ecstasy. You know what I'm saying? You know, get litty. But then, and even then, it was something that you didn't necessarily glorify. It wasn't like cool. If it was your thing, it was your thing. You didn't go
exactly.
broadcast it to the older heads because they wouldn't rate you for that. They're like, yo, bro, y'all move like a junkie. Nowadays,
Yeah,
it's like, yo, man, them are move so like they want to act like they have this manliness, but then you're you're indulging in like opiates. You're like a heroin addict. Let's be real. Like the lean and like the
so who really
Zans and
runs
the
it?
perks,
The
they're
bondman or
all
the, you know?
they're all synthetic opiates. You know what I mean? So like these niggas and these young, I would even correct myself. These young brothers and these young kings. You know what I'm saying? They're getting lost. They're getting lost in the sauce of all these stimulants. You know what I'm saying? And if anything, that's a reflection of the actions that we're being seen. You know what I'm saying? You close off your mind, that means you're not too conscious of the actions that you're doing. And then you add other elements, you know what I'm saying? And that's what you get. Soulless vessels, man.
don't think I could have finished my first book. When I made a connection with the people through a story that I can share, that's really.
I'm gonna have to edit this shit out, man. Oh man, I've been fucked up for a minute now, right? Yeah, let me add my nigga again. Let me add my nigga again. No, that's fucked up, man, because I have the nigga. Hold on. Rasta got soul. In the meantime, between time, I'm gonna play 1-2 track. You know what I'm saying? My bad, y'all, for the inconvenience, but you know how she go. She be fucked up. She be fucked up by the Mac Missile Show, man. Yeah, I got my man back in the show. Let's get back into it. My bad, y'all. My bad.
It's all good. It's all good. Technical difficulties.
Yeah. We were out for a good 20 minutes right there.
Hold on.
Yeah. But I'm gonna go ahead and
Hold on.
keep it real with y'all, man. I fucked up because my shit. Hey, that shit is fragile than a motherfucker, man. Hit that shit a little bit. Your whole internet shit is fucked up. But I'm gonna go ahead and play this here track before we get back into the game real quick. My bad, y'all. Don't sleep on me though. This is for all the niggas though. That's talking.
Earn $300.
Hating on the Mac Mizzle Shizzle, you know what I'm saying? This is what y'all doing to me. I feel like, you know what I'm saying? When I'm trying to set trends, I'm trying to bring a bigger lens to the game, you know what I'm saying? This is how y'all niggas feel to sound to me, man, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking all that jazz, you know what I'm
talking about? Well, here's how it started. Heard you on the radio, talking about rap, saying all that crap about how we sample. Give an example. Think we'll let you get away with that? You criticize our method of how we make records. You said it wasn't art, so now we're gonna rip you apart.
Stop. Check it out, my man. This is the music of a hip-hop fan. Jazz, well, you can call it that.
But this jazz retains a new format.
Point. When you misjudged us, speculated, created a fuss.
You've made the same mistake politicians have.
Talking all that jazz.
Make that mistake.
Talk. Well, I heard talk is cheap. But like beauty, talk is just skin deep. And when you lie and you talk a lot, people tell you to step off a lot. You see, you misunderstood. A sample just a tactic, a portion of my method, a tool. In fact, it's only of importance when I make it a priority. And what we samples of are the majority.
But you a minority in terms of thought.
Narrow-minded
and poorly taught about hip-hop fame or the silly game. Erase my music so no one can use it.
You step on us and we'll step on you. Can't have your cake and eat it too.
Talking all that jazz. lies. That's when you hide the truth. It's when you talk more jazz than proof, and when you lie and address something you don't know.
It's so whack that it's bound to show. When you lie about me and the band, we get angry. Whip out our pen, start writing again. And the things we write are always true, sucker. Let's get a grip, now we talking about you. Seems to me that you have a problem, so we can see what we can do to solve them.
Think rap's a fad, you must be mad. Cause we're so bad, we give respect you never had.
Tell the truth, James Brown was old. Tell Eric and Rock came out with I Got Soul. Rap brings back old R&B, and if we would not, people could have forgotten.
We want to make this perfectly clear. We're talented and strong and have no fear
of those who choose to judge but lack pizzazz.
Talking all that jazz.
Now we're not trying to be a boss to you. We just want to get across to you that if you're talking jazz, the situation is a no-win. You might even get hurt, my friend.
Sonic, the hip-hop band.
And like Sly and the Family Stone, we will stand up for the music we live and play,
and for the song we sing today.
For now, let us set the record straight, and later on we'll have a forum and a formal debate.
But it's important you remember, though,
what you reap is what you sow. Talking all that jazz.
Yeah, talking all that jazz.
Talking all that jazz.
Yeah. So yeah, I had to play that for y'all, man. You know what I'm saying? God damn it. But we're gonna get back into this game, man. You know what I'm saying? My bad, but we ain't talking no jazz. We keeping it funky, you know what I'm talking about? So I got my homie Young Shade in the building, you know what I'm saying?
Bomb.
We're gonna get back into this game. We're gonna put some beats for y'all. Hope y'all can hear it. But yeah, man. Fuck, man. I lost my train of thought, man, with all this what was going on. You remember what we left off? We're talking about Toronto and how, you know, she's going on over there, like it's like a small replica of the States, you know what I'm saying? And it's like,
yeah, but look, I'll give you an example. I didn't come here to this, like, I don't want to rant. I'm gonna be honest, I don't do this, right? So I'm kind of getting into my groove on how we express ourselves. But if you want to compare Toronto to the States, if you're like a person that's aware of like history, you know what I mean, and the way the world is, you can quickly make links on like what's wrong in Toronto. You know what I'm saying? What's going on over there?
okay,
What's, you know what I mean? Just look at the States. You know, like the history of like, okay, gang, subcultures, you know, gang culture. You know what I mean? The relationship between, you know, like the governing forces, like police and the justice system and the courts.
you see, that's what I'm talking about.
I mean, so
people don't know how deep it gets. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So the outside looking in, we know. Because we've been inside, and then we take a step back and we're like, I'm trying to understand these young niggas. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, what's no really have to be like, that's what I'm doing. Like, I'm trying to real talk. I'm trying to stay within the structures of the combo, you know, the mind and the body and the soul.
Me too, fam. Me too.
Definitely. Let me tell you something.
Tie it all in, you know.
Okay, well, let me just break it.
Say nothing that's incriminating or nothing like that. I ain't trying to talk about.
No, that's not what I meant. What I meant was, if I'm gonna say something about that, I want to be very clear on what the point I'm trying to make. What I mean is the state of how it is out there. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely not just something natural, you know? You know what I mean? There's many elements on why things are the way they are. You know what I'm saying? Like if you go to Chicago, this I could more touch on because it's like it's not that close to home, but then again, right?
Yeah.
So what it is, like I read some article in a magazine, and they were talking about that it's like mathematically impossible that many people are dropping without, you know, certain other elements being in play, you know, like, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like how, where do all these straps come from, government? Anyways, you see, like I said, there's a deep conversation, and it's like, where does it really derive from? And like, what's the meaning? There's a deeper meaning to it, but then like at the end of the day, bro, you know, everything under the sun's been done. So what's happening has happened, and what will come out of it will come out of it. You know what I'm saying? For every tense situation, there's always like a silver lining, right? For every shitty opportunity, for every shitty situation you get yourself into, at some point there's some type of, you know, at some point, bro. Like, yo, we'll see in 10 years. We'll see the conversations that will come up in 10 years from now. We'll see in 5 years from now. You know what I mean? So, but differently, there is a lot of talent coming out of Toronto, bro. There's a lot of talent. There's the platform there. It's way more developed than Montreal, that's guaranteed. And if you ask me, one of the main reasons why, and I think the only reason why is because of the language barrier in Quebec. You know, we have a political system that's like bent on preserving a language that's not dominant within the whole country. And we just happen to live in that province, right? So we don't just have an English dynamic to our music. You got the French dynamic to the whole music scene. You got to infuse within one another, right? So, like, if you're in Quebec, what direction you going with your music? Are you trying to tour in fucking Saint-Clair-de-Valais and do tours out there for little French kids? Or are you trying to head to Toronto or New York? You know what I mean? Or tapping with some people on the West Coast, and maybe, you know, tapping from the West Coast of the States. You see, it's like, where are you trying to go with it? And then again, like, you know, there's a whole.
Do you think they're trying to bring, like, you see how the drill music took over every.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that they're trying to, like, bring that everywhere? That type of mentality, that type of sound, like, kill this, kill that, talk about the dead ops.
Yo, my G, let me tell you one thing. Like, I mean, like, yo, let's go back in history. I'm sure, like, during like the Roman Empire, these places, like, these people will, like, you know, talk about their enemies and people they've you know, they've dealt with. Or so at the end of the day, yo, if somebody wants to talk bad about the dead, it kind of just shows mentally where you're at. You feel me?
Thank you very much.
So and emotionally and anything spiritually, you know what I'm saying? Because if you respect the spiritual realm, you'll be like, yo, listen, okay, you were my foe, I didn't like you, but on some level I had to respect you. You know? So how in death now do I have no respect for you? You know what I'm saying? Like, even I, you know, like, if that's how I would assume it would be looked at, you know, coming from how I look at things. You know, you might not like somebody, but you damn sure have to respect them, because they wouldn't be a foe or an op. Opposition is like an opposition. It means somebody that's, like, you know what I mean, that's against you, and like they are gonna voice it that they're against you. So you got to respect, you know, you got to have a respect for even your adversaries on a certain level. Like, you know, like, no human being is immortal, you know. So, like,
that's
you know,
what I'm saying, man. That's
so,
what I'm
so then it's more like a humble thing, you know, like being humble.
Yeah.
Like, at the same time, still you could be like aggressive and ruthless, but you could still have like a basic respect. But then again, yo, we could touch on other aspects, like motherfuckers don't have respect for them seagulls, you know. That's why snitching's at an all-time high. A lot of these, you know what I'm saying? The feds have never been more comfortable ever. And, you know, I noticed because I've been around long enough to know. You know what I'm saying? So how bad can you be if they're not, you know what I'm saying? Like, anyways, point being is, at the end of the day.
So when they say the trap, it really means a trap, you know, trap of the mind.
Yeah, exactly. Literally.
In your soul, you know.
Like, you know, like, and it don't make no sense. See, that's why I didn't want to talk about it, because it's like, I don't really like having these conversations, bro. It's like,
no, it's deep, dog. It needs to be had. You know why? Because, bro, We're not even 50 yet, bro. In 20 years, are we gonna have this conversation again? Let's be honest with ourselves.
I could have this conversation with somebody else, not online. But what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, like I said, I'm being very, I'm being very
Politically
direct.
correct. Yeah.
I'm being direct.
I feel you though. I feel you.
That at the end of the day,
You know what
you
I'm
live
saying?
your life, man. So at one point, your life will extinguish itself physically. You know what I'm saying? So like, you're not gonna want people, you know. It's kind of like, some weird demonic spells you're casting. Like, you keep talking about dead people, keep talking about dead people. Like what? Like
Mm,
that. That's not psychologically, like, healthy. You know,
exactly. Exactly.
on many different levels. So that's all I'm trying to say.
Exactly, man. And that's so deep, man. That's so real what you just said right there, you know? Your thoughts, your thought patterns, like, but these kids are just lashing out because the drugs, the ego, the fame that goes along with it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like shit is real deep, man. It's real deep. The clout is at an all-time high, clout chasing and all this shit. You know what I'm saying? And what's messed up is that this online shit, you have access to like the whole world, basically at your fingertips. So you got to use this in a manner where you can do something right with it. You know what I'm saying? To use it to tear down your brother or tear down your people, because that's the most treasonous shit you could do.
Yeah, but yo,
If you're
I'm a little lit right now. Smoking on that gas.
Mm,
I'm really not talking to the person when I smoke enough weed, but differently, like, to break it down, it's like, everybody has a choice on how they want to live, how with the decisions they want to make based off of how they're living or how they see the world. You know what I'm saying? But then there's always a price. There's always a end result. There's always the the there's always the fucking the cycle of things. You know what I mean? Like, for every action there's a reaction, or every way of thinking there's another way of thinking has developed. So like you said, this shit is deep, but it means we could take it even further. We could take it even to, like, slavery. You know what I'm saying? So, like, the indoctrination into certain ways of thinking and acting,
mm-hmm.
we've definitely been programmed with them. And when the proper cards are in play, you see exactly how the whole game works. And it has a lot of young brothers bamboozled. And then the reality is, it's not every single one of them that will live long enough to even realize. You know what I'm saying? That a lot of it's a fucking lie. You know what I'm saying? It's not real. And then, like you said, the clout, the whole social media platforms where you can, like, paint your whole self.
Yeah,
Before you had to literally just, like, be seen and do stuff for people to, like, know who you are. Now
exactly,
you
bro.
can you could it's not saying that there's not anybody that's of strong character. What I mean is that somebody that's not can actually portray to be a certain way and not be that way.
Thank you very much. So now we're caught up in the world full of characters. You know what I'm saying? And caricatures and all that. You know? So we want to make strides to better ourselves as a people. And every time that shit, some other shit happens. Some other shit. It's like, goddamn. First, it started in the '80s with the crack cocaine. Well, nah, it started before that. The heroin. They were bringing that shit into the communities by the droves, man. I mean, by the droves. Can you dig it?
Mhm.
Crack cocaine. You know what I'm saying? The gangs. Then they brought in the AIDS. Oh, the AIDS epidemic. Oh, that was a deep one.
Mm.
You know, they're telling young black girls, yeah, go get an abortion. Setting up abortion clinics in the neighborhood. Where are they setting up in the white neighborhoods? Fertility clinics.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like
Mhm.
there's a lot of dynamics, a lot of shit that's hitting us, bombarding us at all different levels. Bah, 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 bah. So when you step on concrete now,
But
right,
you see, yo, for real, that's where the mind, the body, and the soul come into play. See, we're living in a time where, as much as we're talking about one way, there's always the other side of the coin. There's the other side of the coin. Like, there's literally, like, technologically, we're on some levels right now that, like, you can't, unless you're tapping into it, you're studying it.
mm,
Like, and if like the world is changing, and it's changing fast, and there's a lot of new tools and ways of functioning that are there. Let's say, example, cryptocurrency, what I'm saying, are online, investments that you can make yourself through applications, like downloading stock
yeah,
applications, buying and selling stocks from your home, from your phone, from
mm.
your laptop. You know what I mean? So this is more like where
You can sell
where
anything online right now, man. Buy and
this is
sell anything online right now.
this is something that's influencing a lot of minds. We want to talk about mind, body, and soul, and then the you know the technology we use every day. Like right now, we're on our phones, right? Or
Mm-hmm,
you're on your laptop, you know.
mm-hmm.
So, and
And
you probably have more than one device in your house. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe a smart TV, or two laptops, or a laptop, or maybe like a phone or two phones, or your wife or your girlfriend's phone, or what I mean. There's like, we're always in use of the technology, but the question is,
are we using the
what do you
technology or is it
what
using
do
us?
you what do you want to do? You want to just use it for your mind? Some people just watch feed all day. They're just
Oh hell,
programming their mind with
I'm
with
trying to find some.
images, and then some people are like, yo, realizing they could use it for different things. You could work out on your phone. You can download an application and calculate the amount of water you drink, or you can just fucking download Snapchat and IG and just motherfucking watch people do shit and comment and like pictures. You know what I'm saying? But then again, if you are living, you must have something for. You must eat. You must gotta function, right? So
Yep,
yeah, man, there's shit to be talked about, but then you don't really want to talk about it because it's not really what these things were made for. Then you can use them for that.
exactly, bro. Exactly, you hit the nail on the head right there. So what they try to do is distort the truth, right? They make it seem like, oh, brothers are angry for no reason, or oh, if he just like conforms to the way society society's moving, then he'll be a little bit better. Or if he just like totally, you know, it's a crazy dynamic. Like they basically want you to be subservient, a second class citizen. And now we looking at it like, nah, we don't want that. We want a lot more, and we're gonna get a lot more. But along the way, there's things that are put in place to undermine us, to keep us at a low vibration.
Yeah, but I'll
They're
be I'll be blunt with you, man. I'll be blunt with you. Now that we're like talking, and I don't really care. Like I'm not gonna I'm just not spilling shit out, but I'm just saying like real talk, like from my point of view, to be real, and like if anything, somebody's like listening to what you're just saying, I feel you. But then again, at some point, man, like with the access of information we have, like there's nobody to blame anymore if you're not able to do something. Like you can go and Google that shit. You can study it yourself, like somebody in university. If you read up on something and learn about something on a regular
yeah,
basis every day,
self-taught,
you
self-taught.
can.
A
It
lot of
doesn't matter.
people,
you have the information there. Do something with it. You know what I'm saying? And then it doesn't mean it's easy in the beginning. Like I said, anything that you start yourself is not going to be easy in the beginning. But if you stick with it, something will come out of it. You know what I'm saying? That's guaranteed. It's the law of motherfucking attraction, man. It's like the equation. Like you give enough energy and thought towards something, something will come out of it. That's for sure. But
Yeah.
but then again, like if you're just watching fucking videos all day and okay, and like liking pictures, that's cool, but that's not what it was made for. There's a lot, way more shit that you could do with the device than just do the
Virtual, what you call it? Virtual businesses, online businesses.
Yeah, okay, we're talking about mind, body, and soul. You
Yeah.
have you have applications in your Play Store that are mind exercises. Like it tests your like coordination or like your problem solving. You
Right.
have for the body, you have fucking exercise applications that will guide you. Time them, time your fucking breaks.
Mhm.
Like I found them. You have applications for meditation for your soul, like balance your chakras and like you can choose the voice. So it all depends on what you're looking at. You have applications where you can invest and buy and sell crypto. You know what I'm saying? Like you register yourself. It all depends on what you're trying to look at, man. Straight up.
Let me ask you this.
For what your feed is showing you.
Let me ask you this. I want to see if you could give me 5 exercises for the mind you could do, 5 exercises for the body, and 5 ways you could make the soul
I
a little bit.
don't know about five. Five's a lot.
Five's a lot.
Maybe just one for the mind.
Yeah,
Simple. Simple. Yo,
yeah.
read something. You don't have to read a book. You know what? You have audiobooks. There's 50 cents. Hustle harder, think smarter. It's free on YouTube right now. I had the book maybe like a year ago. It's a good book. 50 smart. He breaks down the whole like master plan. Once he signed his contract with Aftermath, he
Okay.
didn't happen by chance. Like, he's really smart though. This nigga is really smart, that's for sure. But yeah, man. Just that. I think it's like fucking a few hours long though. There's like a few chapters, but it's for free on YouTube.
Let me ask you about. Okay, yeah,
So yeah, for that, just like mine,
mine. Okay,
body, I would say like man, you could watch any fucking video, man. There's like videos of any type of exercise you want to do online if you want. You can write in fucking military workout simulations and you're gonna find soldiers, Navy SEALs or something that's gonna pop up and you do exactly the same workouts that they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Knowledge is power, man, but like the real wisdom is applying it, you know what I'm saying? Learning how to actually use it.
you think good nutrition helps the body? Well, obviously.
Definitely. Come on. Come on. Quit playing, man. You already know. What
In
you
terms
eat is like what you are.
nutrition, what do you eat like to keep your regiment and your body intact? You know? Or something you take or something like that. Like
I don't know. I'm not really gonna break down my whole diet, you know what I'm saying, online, but I'll tell you spirulina,
spirulina.
CMOS. Spirulina and CMOS are two like really important type of superfoods, you know what I'm saying? Or kale, spirulina and CMOS. That's for sure.
Okay,
If you have that in your diet, you're good. That's for sure. So yeah, we touched on and then on the soul. Another thing, come on, you got videos on YouTube that give off a certain amount of megahertz. There's a certain amount of hertz that make your body relax. If there's certain types of sounds and vibrations, this is known scientifically. You listen to certain sounds on a regular,
kilohertz.
give a certain tempo or a certain certain amount of hertz or energy that is given out. It will literally make you hype, bro. Make you more, like energetic. And there's sounds that will calm you down. So it's the same shit. You can find the right sounds that you need to relax. Bam. Do a
Yeah,
little breathing
I
exercise.
kids, man, at night to put them to sleep.
Meditation, man. Meditating, man. You got a lot of impulsive people. You don't understand. You start breathing, you start thinking. You know what I'm saying? When
Yeah,
you're short of breath, you can't think straight.
exactly.
Tense.
Good. That's what's up. That's what's up.
There you go.
Do
In
you
a
think
nutshell, you know?
yoga is good or something like that, or for the soul, stretching, walk in the park? That could be good too. Whatever to make you feel better. You know what I'm saying? Is good for the soul. You dig? But
Yo, I was gonna tell you still though, but respect for having me on the show, you know?
you already know, family. You already know.
Said that I don't really do them thing there, but it's for a good cause.
No,
First time for everything. You know what I'm saying? We definitely
it's
should
real.
do it again on a different note. For real.
Yeah, man. It's real because people are gonna tune in and they're gonna see that it's a different type of conversation. You know what I'm saying? When you deal with people that are seasoned. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to push forward the right message. You know what I'm saying? Because here it is, mixed messages that are being pushed. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you just gotta press the line and get to the meat and grits of what's going on out here. You know what I'm saying? So
Life is to be lived, my brother. You know what I'm saying? You live your life accordingly to how you want it to be. You know what I'm saying? Like before I sign out, I'm gonna say one word. I'm like, yo, man, like hell and heaven is like a myth. You know what I'm saying? That whole biblical account of like how we die, we go to some shiny little nice place. It's not true. You want heaven while you're here, man. You know what I'm saying? Create the conditions with your mind, your body, your soul, so you can create that reality. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you gotta do within the realms of what you are or who you are, focus on that. You know what I'm saying? Then whatever you really and truly want to do will manifest itself straight up. And I know this for a fact.
that's
It's
real talk.
it's a
That's real
fact.
talk, man.
Real,
Cause
for
shit,
real. So,
shit gets real, man. You know what I'm saying? And
so
that's the life.
let we take 2021. You know what I'm saying? And just the real. The ones that are connected and know of. You know what I'm talking about. Anyways, you know what I'm saying? We link up and build on a different. You know what I'm saying? For real.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure.
Mhm.
I'm down. I'm 100% down with that player. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
I'm just trying to bring the light to the darkness. You know what I'm saying? A lot of shit people don't see unless it's pushed into the forefront. So you gotta push certain shit into the forefront and let motherfuckers know, hey man, certain shit gotta change, man. You know what I'm talking about. But respect for having you on the show, family. You already know.
See?
I'm gonna go
In
into
the lights, in the light. You know what I'm saying?
Young Lava. Uh, I'm gonna go ahead and see this little Young Lava video because he was a Toronto rat. He been through a lot, and he was doing it. You know what I'm saying? But I think he got caught up. You know what I'm saying? And he's facing some time right now and all that. Well, I like the Toronto vibe because at the same time everything's going down over there. They still represent for like their where they're at. You know what I'm saying? And they do their thing and whatnot. So you gotta represent for the Canada, you know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to see what's good for my country before I even look at the states nowadays, you know what I'm saying? And that's how it is. So let's go ahead and watch the rise and fall of
Earn $300 with the performance checking.
Shout out to Young Lava, you know what I'm saying?
Alright, so by now you've probably heard the news already. The man referred to as the TK of the North, and also the most wanted rapper in the country, has finally been caught after spending almost 2 years on the run. Within just a few days of his arrest, there were news articles, Instagram posts, YouTube videos, and everything in between that started flooding the internet. He made national headlines. People from not only Toronto, but all over North America and beyond are talking about Young Lava. Most of his foreign notoriety came from Trap Geek's video, which is undoubtedly what put him in the mainstream spotlight. It even acted as promotion for his music, with some viewers checking out his songs after and liking them. Since then, Young Lava has kept everyone on their toes. People were wondering where he was or if he'd ever be found. Well, the suspense came to an end on January 10, 2021, when U.S. Marshals captured him along with another fugitive in Fergus Falls, Minnesota. Now that there's a conclusion, I thought this would be a good time to come out of my video hiatus and talk about yet another promising rapper who met the familiar fate of prison. This is the story about the rise and eventual fall of Young Lava. And just a heads up, this video won't be 100% about Young Lava, but anything brought up will be connected to him in some shape, way, or form.
You see how the white boy is capitalizing on life for a real one, you know what I'm saying?
Alright, let's get right into it.
Like, I just clicked on the rise and fall of Young Lava, and he got the whole shit down pat, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. So now, he gonna capitalize on it. And what they do now on the stage? You got Vlad, you got this, you got that. Capitalizing on the shit over there. So it's a lot of shit, man. That goes into this shit, man. With the ego and fame. Get a little bit of paper, you know what I'm saying? You got to think greater, you know what I'm talking about?
Into it. 29-year-old Dane Adrian Sitladine, better known as Young Lava, is a rapper from the Rexdale area of Toronto. More specifically, he's from a townhouse complex located on Orpington Crescent, referred to as O Block. He's intertwined with IDS, which is a notorious group out of Rexdale, composed of different cliques. They're known not only for their hostility, but also for having several notable rappers within their crew. In an interview with We Love Hip Hop Network, Young Lava talks a bit about his upbringing. Generally, Toronto rappers don't like to share too much personal information on camera, so the details are vague, but it's enough to get some sort of picture of Young Lava's life. So he and his two older brothers were raised by their mom, and said that growing up in Rexdale was like growing up in any other hood in Toronto. He describes how police are on you, and basically everyone's just trying to eat and make a living any way they can. Despite any negativity that may have been around, he mentions that while growing up, he met talented people, from those pursuing basketball to others like Young Lava himself, who would try their hand at rap. It all began with an early influence from his family. He recalls how his mom would often listen to R&B artists like R. Kelly, Sade, and Buju Banton, but his brothers, on the other hand, listened to rap/hip-hop, and that's how he became exposed to the genre, mentioning that his favorite artist of all time is Nas. Young Lava was inspired to hop in front of a microphone by watching things like Rap Sheet DVD, a series from the mid-2000s which was compiled of music videos and freestyles featuring rappers from hoods all over Toronto. Young Lava said that seeing guys from his own area making music and building a buzz made him feel like he could do it too, so he decided to have a crack at it. He said that he made the plunge into rap in 2010 after he was released from youth detention. By spring of 2011, he was already dropping music videos on YouTube and building traction with songs like 100 Miles and Running, Tiger Blood, and Free My Ninjas, originally rapping under the name Lava P. He mentioned that after dropping Tiger Blood, he was already starting to get noticed, and added that the song was actually a freestyle too. His writing process is pretty unorthodox, since he doesn't have one at all. He explained that to this day, he never writes down lyrics on paper, and just goes off memory. Basically, he hops on a beat, feels the vibe, and just starts rapping. But when he first made his debut, Young Lava saw music as just something to do for fun. He said that he never really took it seriously until he was motivated to do so by his oldest brother, named Donovan Sitladine, also known as rapper Young Doves. He was an OVO-affiliated artist who was making noise in the rap scene in the mid-2010s, known for several tracks such as OG Bobby Johnson, Gang, Panda Freestyle, We Live, Conversations, and more. Young Dubs was also part of IDS and proudly wore it on his sleeve and his back. With IDS being locked into multiple beefs around the city, Young Dub's connection to the group may be what played a part in his unfortunate demise. He was shot and killed in Brampton a few years ago on May 11th of 2017. Residents of a townhouse complex on Garden Gate Circle Boulevard called 911 at around 10:30 p.m.
Brampton is wild now, eh? Bangladesh. You know what I'm saying? Like how a place like Brampton turned out to be like gangsters fuck. It's all intertwined with the prison industrial complex. You know, these young cats getting into all these type of situations. You know, you live and let live, but you gotta see it, man. You gotta see it to believe it. It's crazy out there. I mean, some get away, but they're few and far between, man. So my whole thing is get in, get out. That's an OG's classic, you know what I'm talking about?
p.m. after they heard several gunshots nearby. Police quickly arrived and found young Dubs lying in a driveway, unresponsive with no vital signs. He had been fatally shot in the head and was pronounced deceased at the scene. He was 28 years old. Another male had been shot, but he was able to drive himself to a hospital, where he was then transported to a trauma center and ultimately survived. The police weren't sure if there was a party or gathering going on inside the unit and couldn't give details about what led to the shooting, or if it was gang-related. It seemed like they didn't know much about what happened, and apparently they still don't, because the homicide of Young Dubs remains unsolved to this day. In that same interview, Young Lava was asked about how his brother's passing affected him, and he answered that it only made him want to go harder in the rap game. In a way, he wanted to pick up where Young Dubs had left off, or in other words, it was his turn. In the past, there was a long gap in between Young Lava's music releases. He put out a few songs in the early 2010s, but then goes completely off the radar for several years before he dropped Stop Lying in February of 2017. After Young Dubs passed, that's when Young Lava became much more consistent, releasing quality songs matched with visuals just as good more frequently. A few mentionable songs are It's My Turn Freestyle, Conversations, No Hook, 1800, and On the Block, all of which did numbers. His music video for On the Block, which was released in March of 2019, was actually filmed at the same Brampton complex where Young Dubs was shot a couple years prior. It was obviously intentional rather than a coincidence for Young Lava to film there, but why he did it, I don't know. But it turns out that all three of the Sitladine brothers were somehow linked to that area in Brampton. And with that, this is a good time to bring up 30-year-old Damien Sitladine, the middle child. Well, a decade before Young Lava would film at the complex, Damien allegedly took part in a shootout at the same location, which was described as some type of ambush. A car pulled into the parking lot before being riddled with bullets, and the driver inside the vehicle returned fire. It took place on an afternoon in April 2009, and thankfully no one was injured in the incident. The police arrived to the scene, only to find spent shell casings scattered around, and the suspects were long gone. A month after it happened, 3 men, including Damien, were tracked down, arrested, and charged with 2 counts of attempted murder. I couldn't find any court documents on the case, so I'm not sure if Damien ended up pleading the charges or if he was convicted and served time. But what I do know is that he was back on the streets years later, around spring of 20.
Êtes-vous à la recherche d'un emploi?
It was during the early morning of March 5th when Damien was driving in Mississauga around the Tobram and Derry Road area. He was apparently swerving and driving erratically, which caught the attention of a patrol car. The police had a suspicion that Damien was drunk, so they pulled him over for a traffic stop. The officer requested to see his driver's license, registration, and insurance, all of which he couldn't produce. When asked his name, Damien told the officer that it was Donovan, which is his brother Young Dub's name. Well, it didn't make things any better, considering Donovan had a suspended license, a weapons prohibition, and was considered armed and dangerous. So this only made the police more aggressive. They told who they thought was Donovan that he was under arrest for driving.
See that crazy shit? How does he know all this shit? You know what I'm saying? Motherfucker really studied the shit, dog. I say, I'm gonna put it down. on the platform. You know what I'm talking about? So it's messed up. It's messed up, to say the least, you know. Because you displaying people's lives, you know. Like, certain people don't deserve this type of life, you know. Or they're just born into the shit. And it becomes tragedy after tragedy after tragedy if you don't wise up, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you gotta stick your neck out. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
Driving with a suspended license and ordered him to exit the vehicle. Damien was reluctant, so the officers began trying to forcefully get him out of the car. One officer used his knee to strike Damien 3 times, at which point he stopped resisting and was apprehended. Damien was face down on the ground handcuffed when officers rolled him over and noticed something protruding from his waist, which was discovered to be a .40 caliber handgun. He was arrested and charged with numerous firearms-related offenses. He had a bail hearing a few days later, but there's no word on if it was granted or not. In a court document, it says Damien was found factually guilty of several offenses, so he may be in jail as we speak. It didn't look like he was a rapper like his brothers, but all 3 seemed to share one thing in common: getting into trouble with the law. We saw what happened with Young Lava. Damien might be behind bars right now. And in 2008, Young Dubs was charged with possession of crack with the purpose of trafficking, pointing a firearm, and other gun-related offenses. It's safe to say that the Sitlerine brothers are about that life. But unfortunately, that life usually only ends up one of 2 ways: dead or in jail. It's a pretty cliche saying, but it remains accurate to this day. Moving on, let's talk a little bit more about IDS, the group that the brothers were part of. So IDS has been locked into a deadly beef with 3L or Northside Jane for quite some time now. It's the notorious Rexdale vs. Driftwood feud that's been going on for ages, with a trail of shootings and bodies behind it. The 2 opposing sides have perpetually been going at each other, in songs and in person. There's a video from 2017 that shows Young Lava jogging through Vaughan Mills Mall, being chased by apparently 3L members, including 21 Neat and Super Wasi. The men followed Young Lava while yelling at him, until he eventually turns around and swings a punch, at which point the video cuts off. Supposedly, his chain was taken after the fight, and it was posted somewhere on social media. As a Reddit user commented, there wasn't much Young Lava could do in this situation, considering he was likely outnumbered, so all he could do was hold his own. Another comment said that he actually had a bench warrant at the time, so he was trying to avoid trouble. I brought up this video because I know if I don't, someone will probably comment about it anyways. Also, I wanted to show an example of the types of situations that just add fuel to the fire and continues the unrelenting beef. When the 2 rivals aren't face to face, they stay active by calling each other out in their songs. With Young Lava being a popular rapper from Rexdale, he was at the forefront of the beef and was a prime target, but that didn't stop him from being involved. Since he had an audience, he used this music to antagonize and taunt members of 3L and other foes. In several of his songs, there are lyrics that take jabs at his ops, and some of the disses aren't so subtle either. Young Lava often targets BFR, or Blue Feather Records, which is a music label backed by some of the most popular rappers of 3L. People sending shots through songs is nothing new, and usually it's never a one-sided thing. In this case, rappers from Northside Jane definitely make sure to even the score with their own music. Houdini, YG, 21 Neat, and others have not only dissed IDS in their songs, but specifically Young Lava, and even his brother. Young Dub's passing has been used by rivals as a way of disrespecting Young Lava and IDS. There have been not only lyrics, but even Snapchat posts by 3L members talking down on Young Dubs. But as I said, it's never a one-sided thing. When a member of 3L passes away, IDS members make sure to return the favor with their own antics. It's this kind of back and forth disrespect that keeps constant tension and bad blood between Rexdale and Driftwood. Coming back to that interview once again, the host asked Young Lava a good question about if diss tracks are holding rappers back, or if it's just something that has to happen. Young Lava said that it's not something that necessarily has to happen, but it's just part of the culture. He mentions how there are mainstream rappers from the city, like Tory Lanez, who do the same thing, implying it's just part of the rap industry in general, which in my opinion is true. There's constantly new beef and diss tracks popping up all the time, in both underground and mainstream rap. It's not uncommon, and in most cases, it can be entertaining. People generally get excited when artists clash and take to the microphone to address each other. That being said, when diss tracks or certain lyrics in songs lead to people getting hurt or killed, it becomes something other than just music or entertainment. When you look at popular Hollywood type rap feuds, most of the time it never takes a violent turn. That's because the beef usually isn't that deep, and it's just superficial dissing. It's more of a business move and a way for a rapper to get noticed or stay relevant. That's not to say all mainstream rap beefs are publicity stunts, but some of them are, and others are artificially prolonged just for clout. But in underground rap, especially in cities like Chicago or in this case Toronto, it only takes a minuscule amount of mockery in a song to see retaliation from the other side. They'll send a shot back, but it's not always in the form of a lyric. Things often become deadly because the disses in question are usually personal and beyond disrespectful. Once rappers start making threats, along with bringing up people's dead relatives and friends, it's more than just lines in a song at that point. And unless everyone unanimously agrees to stop dissing each other, it's something that's going to be prevalent in rap. Until then, music will continue to be used as a method of calling out rivals, which sometimes spills out into the streets and ends up violent. Speaking of which, in that same interview, the host asked Young Lava this question, which I'll play back right now.
What do you think that we can do for 2019 to bring down like the violence and the crime that's going on in the city? You know what I'm saying? I know I'm not talking about the black community or hip hop community. I'm talking about Toronto as a whole.
Me personally, I don't even know nothing about that, man. I don't know nothing about that shit.
It's unfortunate that Young Lava and his entourage wouldn't have more suggestions on how to lower violence in Toronto. I understand the host was trying to bring some positivity to the interview, but honestly, this was kind of like asking a cigarette company how to cure lung cancer. I'm not trying to be like Vlad TV and incriminate anyone here, but at the same time, let's not beat around the bush. The guys sitting across the table have probably personally contributed to the violence in the city, so it makes sense why they wouldn't have a meaningful answer. I mean, Young Lava is literally in jail right now on a murder charge, but maybe he believes violence is just part of rap culture too. And since we're already talking about Young Lava's charge, we might as well go over what happened in the first place. You likely already heard the details, but I'll take a moment to go over them anyways. This was the event that essentially set off Young Lava's race from the police. It was on May 1st, 2019, just after 1 p.m., when 911 received a call about a shooting that occurred inside of a townhouse unit. It was at 256 John Garland Boulevard, just one of the many complexes in Rexdale. When first responders arrived and made entry into the unit, they found 26-year-old Blaine Grindley lying on the floor, suffering multiple gunshot wounds. Despite many efforts to revive him, he died on the scene. Police didn't make any comments about a motive for the attack. All they said was that a vehicle involved in the shooting was caught on video, which was later traced to an owner living in the GTA. Seemingly having little information to work from, the police still took major strides in their investigations. It's not mentioned how, but they're able to come up with a few names relating to the homicide. Within 2 weeks, the police announced that they had 3 suspects. On May 15, 2019, Canada-wide murder warrants were issued for a 29-year-old man that's not Kawhi Leonard, but actually named Michael Smith, along with 21-year-old Andre Dowse, and last but not least, Young Lava. Within just a few days, Andre turned himself in. About a week after that, on May 20th, Michael also surrendered. Both of the men were charged with first-degree murder. But the last suspect, Young Lava, wasn't planning on giving up that easily. Weeks went by, which turned to months, and he was nowhere to be found. Eventually, Young Lava was put on Toronto's most wanted list, and would remain on it for years to come. Once his face was plastered on that wanted poster, along with the fact that he was a rapper, suddenly he began receiving attention from outside of the city. He was the subject of a wild story waiting to be scooped up. This is when he caught the attention of Trap Geek, who dropped a video covering Young Lava that reached over 2.5 million views. It's no secret that from an American perspective, Toronto has a reputation for being soft. It is what it is, and you can't really change their minds. So when someone was being referred to as the TK of Canada, it came as a surprise, and viewers were interested in hearing about the story. Obviously, Toronto isn't all butterflies, apologies, and marshmallows, contrary to foreign opinions. And in a way, Young Lava was the reflection of other goons in the city, and his story shed light on the gritty side of Toronto that most outsiders are unaware of. Even though Young Lava is being compared to TK, some people think Lava was the smarter of the two, because while on the run, he was apparently releasing pre-recorded music videos to confuse the authorities. But I think the smartest move would probably be to try and stay off the internet entirely, and that's not what Young Lava did. Not only is it reported that he would sometimes make posts on his Instagram, but he even appeared on someone's live stream. He joined Southside Jane rapper NHS JJ's live sometime in July of 2019, in which he didn't show his face, but you hear him talking as he casually walks around the streets at night. Besides keeping a presence on social media, Young Lava also put out a couple songs while he was on the run. He dropped the tracks Murder Crest, Real Spit, and also Quitter, which was just released recently and is a blatant Houdini diss. Young Lava also featured on an album by Mula First called Pandemic Rex, which dropped last summer, but his vocals could have just been pre-recorded. I'm not sure. Whatever the case was, Young Lava made sure to stay relevant in the rap game, despite being a wanted man. And so that brings us to the climax of the story, Young Lava's arrest, the end of his race. As you know, he was arrested in Minnesota, USA, which is just over the border, not incredibly far from Toronto. More specifically, it was on an interstate highway near the small town of Fergus Falls. But before I get into that, it turns out that it wasn't Young Lava's first time getting arrested in Minnesota. This is where there was a bunch of confusion. Someone named Dane Adrian Sitladine was arrested in Hennepin County, Minneapolis in June of 2019. He was charged with aggravated robbery, and his booking details are available to read online. The information went public when it was posted on the Torontology Reddit sub, where most people thought it was just a coincidence, and the person arrested wasn't Young Lava, but rather just shared the exact same name. The confusion is partly because one of the sites detailing his arrest showed a blurred mugshot. Even though you can't see the picture in full clarity, you can tell that it doesn't resemble Young Lava. It looks like a white guy with long straight hair. Also, if it was actually him, then it wouldn't make sense. He was still on Toronto's most wanted list, and there would have been some type of news in Canada of his arrest, or so you would think. Well, the Dane Adrian Sitladine who was arrested in Minneapolis was in fact Young Lava, so I'm assuming those blurred mugshots on the site just aren't accurate. There may have been a lack of communication between US and Canadian law enforcement agencies. This could be because Young Lava's first arrest was in June of 2019, which was just a month after Blaine Grinley was killed, and just weeks after a warrant was issued for his arrest. So maybe his fresh warrant wasn't showing up in their system, since it wasn't yet entered into a national database, essentially allowing Young Lava to slip through the cracks. Also, he had a bogus piece of ID, which appears in his second arrest, so that could have played a part in it as well. I would consider him to be quite lucky, since a simple search of the name Dane Sitladine on Google would have shown that he was wanted for murder. But anyways, as for the aggravated robbery, well, he must have been able to get bail or beat the charge somehow, because he was eventually released in the months after. He should have treated the close call as a warning sign, but regrettably he didn't. Instead, he added more heat to his situation by linking up with a fellow fugitive from Toronto, 29-year-old Muzamil Adao. Muzamil was doing his own race, evading Canadian police for a bizarre kidnapping he was involved with in March of 2019. He was identified as one of the 4 men responsible for kidnapping a 22-year-old university student named Wanzin Liu in Markham, Ontario. Wanzin was in the parking garage of his condo building at around 6 p.m. when he was suddenly approached by 3 masked men. He was zapped with a stun gun before being forced inside of a stolen minivan, driven by a 4th man. Wanzin came from a wealthy family and was known for living a lavish lifestyle, owning a Lamborghini, Rolls-Royce, and a Range Rover. That's likely the reason why he was targeted. He was even wearing a $2,000 Gucci hoodie when he was kidnapped. Wanzin's disappearance was noticed quickly, and a huge search effort was launched before a ransom demand was made by the suspects. Although the police didn't comment on how or when exactly the demand was received, or what amount of money was sought. Miraculously, about 3 days after being kidnapped, Wanzin was able to escape the house he was being held hostage, which was some 200 kilometers northeast of Markham, in Gravenhurst, Ontario. He approached the house in a small cottage town and knocked on the door. The homeowner who answered called 911, and the OPP arrived to get Wanzin. Investigators were productive, and within a few months, 3 of the 4 men responsible were behind bars, with each of them facing a heavy slew of charges. The last suspect was Muzamil, who was still at large. He was wanted for 7 charges, including kidnapping, forcible confinement, and assault with a weapon. On top of that, he was also wanted on 15 firearms-related offenses related to a separate incident. Muzamil was surely no stranger to the police either. In September of 2018, he was among 9 people arrested after a search warrant was executed on a Rexdale home. Police seized 2 firearms, 100 grams of coke, and $10,000 in cash. All 9 people were charged with the same 17 offenses. To summarize, like Young Lava, the police considered Muzamil to be armed and dangerous. But rather than laying low, the 2 were out and about, continuing their crime spree. We're now at the final arrest of Young Lava, and here's how it went down. On January 10, 2021, just after 10 p.m., a Minnesota state trooper was driving east on I-94 near that had Texas plates and pulled the vehicle over. The truck was discovered to be a rental belonging to Hertz. When the trooper asked to see the driver's license, the man handed over an ID from Ontario, bearing the name Zakaria Tajir. The passenger, on the other hand, had an ID from Florida with the name Dane Sitladine. So there were two men, one from Ontario, one from Florida, driving on a Minnesota highway in a truck registered to be from Texas. You can imagine the trooper already had some suspicion, so he further questioned the men, which only made things worse for them, since they couldn't get their story straight. When asked about where they were headed, the driver already had a narrative prepared. He said that he was on his way to Fargo, a city in North Dakota, to work for his uncle's construction company. He went on to say that he and the passenger recently flew into Minnesota from Canada and rented the truck at the airport. It would have been a solid explanation, but the passenger had a different story. He said that he didn't fly in from Canada and actually lived in Minneapolis. But like the driver, the passenger said he was also going to work at the same construction company, which both men couldn't specifically name. The trooper sensed that something fishy was going on, so he asked the driver to step out and walk back to his patrol car so they could talk privately. This is when the driver changed his answer and now said that he didn't fly in with the passenger and that the two met through his cousin about a month earlier. But once again, their stories didn't match up, because the passenger later told the trooper that they had actually known each other for over a year. Someone clearly wasn't being truthful, which motivated the trooper to investigate further. He said he smelled weed coming from the truck and asked the driver for permission to search it, in which he agreed, as long as the trooper didn't open the bags that were inside. The trooper then patted down both of the men and told them to stand away while he searched the vehicle. He opened up one of the doors and noticed a few duffel bags and knapsacks on the back seat and floor. Breaking his promise, the trooper unzipped one of the bags and saw about a dozen guns and high-capacity magazines, at which point he immediately radioed for backup. He approached the two suspects and told them to put their hands on top of their heads. The driver didn't comply at first and attempted to make a call on his cell phone before having a brief conversation on his Apple Watch. Once the other officers arrived, it was discovered that the passenger, Dane Sitladine, or Young Lava, was wanted by U.S. Marshals for not only murder, but also for fentanyl distribution and possession of proceeds of crime. He was promptly arrested, along with the driver, thought to be named Tajir, who was booked for carrying a firearm without a permit. But after U.S. investigators spoke with Toronto police, they found out that the driver was using someone else's ID, and he was identified as Muzamil Adao. It's not known how the two were able to enter the country, since there was no record of either of the men crossing the border legally. In total, the police recovered 67 firearms that were stuffed into 4 bags. Out of all the weapons, only a single one was loaded with live ammunition. I don't know what they were doing with 67 guns, but it's possible that they planned to either smuggle them into Canada or sell them across the United States. So that's how the bust went down. But of course, we have to address some questions that arise. Like, what in the world was Young Lava Muzamil thinking? First of all, if you're on the run, it's probably not the best idea to hang around someone else on the run. It's basically doubling your chances of being noticed and getting caught. On top of that, the two weren't even trying to lay low or hide out. As a YouTube commenter pointed out, looking at Young Lava's recent mugshot, he didn't make any attempt on changing his appearance. Not only that, but he and Muzamil were still just going out in public, carrying on with their life like they weren't fugitives. They also continued to commit crimes, despite already being wanted on some serious charges. And finally, the fact that they were speeding. They had enough guns in the back seat to arm a small militia, so you'd think they'd drive the speed limit to avoid any unnecessary attention. If they weren't zooming down the highway, going over 100 miles per hour as reported, maybe the trooper who passed wouldn't have noticed them. But I guess we'll never know. I couldn't help but be reminded of Tyke, another Toronto rapper who went on the run for a murder and fled to Aruba. Similar to Young Lava, he ended up being caught only after committing more crime and essentially giving himself away. If they just stayed under the radar and maintained a low profile, there's no telling if they would have ever been caught. As to what happens next, well, there's not much information out so far. It's reported that Young Lava is being held in a federal jail and that he already made an appearance in a Minnesota courtroom. It's not clear if he'll have to face his charges in the US before being extradited or if his case in Canada will take priority. But it's safe to assume he'll be in the US for the time being, while his case is figured out. As for Muzamil, well, a York police constable named Laurie Nicole confirmed that they were notified of his arrest and are working to have him return to Canada to face trial. But again, there was no word on what would happen to Young Lava. All that's certain is that 2 high-profile criminals who had been evading police for quite some time were finally caught, and whatever plan they had that involved those dozens of guns was foiled.
So there you have it. You know what I'm saying? Crazy. I'm just saying, that. This ain't even rap music. It's just like, the hood anthem is the hood crew getting at the other. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? Hey, man, it's different. It's just different. You know what I'm saying? I just hope the best for everybody, man. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, it's all about the mind, body, and soul. Get that shit in line, you know? Get the divine, the most high, you know what I'm saying? Because me, I ain't got time for all that bullshit, man. I ain't trying to keep track of none of it. We really talk about seeing people. You know what I'm saying? Like, really go to the extent of, you know, like, showing off, or like, then the fame get to their head so much right after that. Right. I don't understand it. Well, what's there to understand, you know? Because what's understood don't need to be explained, man. I don't understand this shit, though. I mean, there's a lot of money to get out there. There's a lot. But that's not what happened here, man. They actually set up neighborhoods for us to fail, you know. Set up situations for us to fail. It's like we gotta take it. Take responsibility in your own hands. You see where my state is coming from? It's coming from a place of self-pity. Nothing uplifting, nothing engaging. It's very petty. But me, at the end of the day, I'm like, live and let live, right? We We're all victims of this oppressive system. So why not? Why won't we carry on tradition? Nah, we gotta break the cycle. Depending on our kids. First generation, second, third, fourth, fifth generation. Down the line, still gonna go through it. It was designed that way. You can see it by the little documentary we just seen right there. Generations, man. Shit, man. Generations, man. All I know is this, bro. My youth ain't going down like that. Not never how. Not no way how in hell I'm gonna allow that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? Or I can't even promote the shit. But that's just not me. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm in this shit, but I ain't of this shit. Can you dig it? So it's crazy. Because, you know, you look at life and you're like, shoot. It's that subtle. You know? It's that bold. It's that, what do you call that? Serious. Anyway, all I'm saying is do what y'all gotta do to make yourself happy. And do it for your mind, your body, and your soul. You know what I'm saying? The best way to do that is to stay focused on your goals. Stay close to your folks. And always represent the right shit. You know what I'm saying? Represent good shit the right way all the time. You know what I'm saying? No matter what, don't glorify the bullshit. You know, glorify the good shit. There's always a balance, man. Anyway, that's just how I feel about it, man. There's a balance to this shit. You know? Trying to break equilibrium, you know what I'm saying? So all this gun talk. You dig? Anyway, it's your boy Matt Mizzle. And you know my slogan, keep it real in the field, forget how they feel. I'm out. Peace.